could have anticipated what the year 2020 had in store for us, as we ushered in a new decade on January 1st, 2020. When people were partying and the world was illuminated by fireworks as the new year began. We were plagued by a devastating coronavirus that left children orphaned, individuals mourning the loss of grandparents, and couples without hope as one of them passed away in the hospital alone. Almost none of us have escaped its influence. Namaskar, I am Suruchi Das and you're watching Rhythm Demystifies. In today's episode, we will expose how the novel coronavirus was made to spread across the world. It all began when on 31st December 2019, the Chinese authorities announced that they have received 27 cases of viral pneumonia, the origin of which is unknown. At that point in time, the intensity and reach of the virus were underestimated. However, at the same time, the rise in cases with each passing day baffled the doctors. The next day, the Chinese government decided to quietly shut the animal market, and on January 7th, they announced identifying the virus and named it 2019 nCoV. It was on January 11 when China reported the first death in Wuhan due to the virus. Since then, the cases flared and the virus gripped the entire world in its hand, claiming more than 68.7 lakh lives, wreaking havoc in the world in the past 3 years. The initial believed origin. In a joint study by the World Health Organization and China, the origin of SARS-CoV-2 was linked with bats that transmitted the virus to human beings. Also, the study believes that other animals transmitted the virus to bats. The study also highlighted that it was extremely unlikely that a deadly virus leaked from a laboratory, which many leaders outside China believed to be since the beginning of the pandemic. The report was formulated after a WHO investigator visited Wuhan for a month in the year 2021. The investigators listed scenarios by which COVID-19 could have emerged, with the spread from other animals to bats being most likely, followed by direct spread from bats to humans, cold chain food products, and laboratory leaks, which are considered to be extremely unlikely. Donald Alessandro, a vaccinologist and immunologist, explained that their investigation revealed that the virus is a zoological transmission. He added that we have to understand how this virus is being transmitted in animals, and once we do, we need to limit the zoological contact to humans. However, the 2021 report instantly denied that the virus is a leak from the lab. Just like the world knows that it has to adapt to COVID-19, similarly, China knows that it is being blamed for COVID-19 virus. Thus, it attempted to erase any cues that could land it in trouble. For instance, the lab leak. US Energy Department report exposes truth of COVID-19 origin. Now, the new report by US Energy Department has made things clearer, as it concluded that the COVID pandemic most likely arose from a laboratory leak. It is pertinent to mention that the US Department alone hasn't given this judgment, but the Federal Bureau of Investigation is also of the same belief that the virus is a mashup that was created within the Chinese laboratory. Their research on the COVID-19 virus origin holds significance because they hold scientific expertise and monitors a network of US national laboratories, many of which conduct advanced biological research. The Energy Department's conclusion is the result of new intelligence and is significant because the agency has considerable scientific expertise and oversees a network of US national laboratories, some of which conduct advanced biological research. The Energy Department's insights come from its network of national laboratories, some of which conduct biological research rather than more than traditional forms of intelligence like spy networks or communication intercepts. FBI chief confirms COVID-19 originated from lab incident in Wuhan. The Federal Bureau of Investigation Director Christopher Wray confirmed that the COVID-19 pandemic originated from a lab incident in Wuhan, China. Though the FBI said this with moderate confidence, it still holds on to the belief. FBI Director Christopher Wray confirmed that the Bureau has assessed that the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic likely originated from a lab incident in Wuhan, tweeted the FBI. He further added that FBI has for quite some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic are most likely a potential lab incident in Wuhan. I will just make the observation that the Chinese government has been doing its best to try to thwart and obfuscate the work here. The work that we are doing, the work that our US government and close foreign partners are doing.
So Mr. Vice Chairman, as the committee knows, the FBI has long assessed, going all the way back to the summer of 2021, that the origin of the pandemic was likely a lab incident in Wuhan.
The US officials, as of now, have declined to give details as to how they landed on this conclusion. However, the US Energy Department admitted that its reason for reaching this conclusion is different from that of the FBI. Even the National Intelligence Council, which conducts long-term strategic analysis, remarked with low confidence that the virus originated from an infected animal. US lawyer Robert F. Kennedy Jr. makes startling claim about Anthony Fauci. According to a video posted on Twitter, American environment lawyer and author Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that former chief medical advisor to US President Anthony Fauci, who had been in charge of developing bioweapons for the Pentagon since 2002, moved his bioweapons research to the Wuhan lab in 2014 after 3 viruses escaped from US labs. In a video of the interviewed Robert, who's the son of US Senator Robert F. Kennedy and a nephew of President John F. Kennedy, said that in 2014, 3 of those bugs escaped in high-profile escapes from different labs in the US. Congress held hearings on it. Everybody was angry, and 300 top scientists sent letters to Obama saying, "You've got to shut down Fauci because he is going to create a pandemic." As per Robert, Obama at that time ordered a moratorium. Fauci was then doing 18 different gain-of-function experiments around the US. Fauci then moved his staff offshore to Wuhan, where he could do it out of sight of these 300 scientists and nosy White House officials who were trying to shut him down, Robert said. And he continued to do with it with the same people he was funding here, Ralph Baric and Peter Daszak, and they moved their operation to Wuhan lab. He added, "What does China claim?" China has hit back at US Department's claim by calling it a smear. Even the Chinese media have repeatedly accused the US government of spreading rumors regarding the source of the pandemic. Mourning, a Chinese politician and diplomat, stated that the US intelligence has a history of misdeeds and is involved in fraud and deception. She added that their studies regarding the origins of COVID-19 have no credibility. The unusual death of scientists at Wuhan. Dr. Li Wenliang, a doctor who worked at the Wuhan hospital, tried to raise an alarm regarding the origin of the virus. He claimed that the virus was a lab leak. Following this announcement, he was diagnosed with the virus and later died after staying in the hospital for about 3 weeks, where his treatment was going on. Another US-based scientist, Andrew Huff, who worked at the research lab in China's Wuhan, where the COVID virus first originated, made a startling statement regarding the origin of the virus. He told the New York Post that COVID virus first leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a state-run and funded research facility, 2 years ago. He also claimed that the virus was caused by US government's funding of coronavirus in China. He said that owing to the inadequate security while conducting experiments, the virus leaked from the lab. He added that from day one, China knew that the deadly virus is a result of a lab leak and that US government should be blamed for the same. China reels under the dominance of COVID-19. Lately, in December 2022 and January 2023, cases of COVID-19 drastically surging in China, leading to government announcing a lockdown in the country. However, the lockdown didn't go well with the Chinese citizens as they took to the streets of major cities in China demanding an end to the lockdown. In fact, a lot of protesters even asked for President Xi Jinping's removal. Reportedly, demonstrations were triggered by a deadly fire in Urumqi, which claimed the lives of 10 people and left 9 injured in an apartment building. Notably, the firefighters couldn't reach the spot on time because apparently the lockdown measures delayed them. Before people took to the streets, they had already been in lockdown for about 100 days, and that agitated them because they were forced to stay inside their homes. Not only this, but the economical graph went down excessively. The protests led to scuffles between demonstrators and police, and during the wee hours, the police arrested quite a few protesters as they disrupted the peace in the nation. Those arrested complained of police pushing, dragging, and beating the protesters. Videos of the same went viral on the internet. However, the Chinese authorities scrubbed the video, stating that these were morphed images of the scenes. India's stand on origin of coronavirus. In the year 2020, a fresh rivalry between India and China erupted when the latter said that Covid-19 originated in India in the summer of 2019. In the paper titled Chinese Academy of Sciences, scientists claimed that the Indian subcontinent might be the place where the first human-to-human transmission of the virus occurred before the Wuhan outbreak. Notably, this isn't the first time that China is blaming another country for the mistakes they have committed. Earlier, China passed on the blame to Italy and the US for being the originators of such a deadly virus. However, being unaffected by the blame game in 2021, India called for further studies to determine the origin of coronavirus. Even though China reiterated that COVID-19 is not a lab leak, this call by India showed that it is not ready to settle by unfactual claims, and now the US Energy Department's report saying that COVID-19 is most likely a lab leak. It affirms that India under PM Modi's leadership has been vouching for precise things. Albeit, the origin of COVID-19 is still a mystery. It holds importance because it claimed the lives of many people, and hence knowing the origin can help in preventing such a disaster from happening again. Let us say that the theory of viruses being originated from animals is proven correct. It would affect farming and wildlife activities and their exploitation. For instance, when the threat of dissemination of a virus linked to mink farming in Denmark came in news, millions of mink were culled. Other than that, if lab leak theory comes out to be true, then it is severely going to impact how the world views China. Keep in mind that already the nation does not have satisfactory relations with various nations around the world. Not to forget that for decades, China has been accused of hiding crucial early information about the pandemic and didn't even release the exact number of cases and deaths that were reported in their country. Also, it has to be kept in mind that every virus that jumps from species to species leaves a trail that helps in assessing how it reaches its current target. Even in the case of viruses that get accidentally leaked from labs, there are clues about their origin hidden in the virus genome, which codes for restructured proteins and traces of enhancing its function. However, in the case of the COVID-19 virus, it has been almost 18 months since it was first reported on the international platform, but the clues about its origin are either bleak or non-existent. This clearly indicates that China has indulged in various activities through which it has managed to hide the cues in which the virus leaked, making the country suspicious that the virus wasn't a natural occurrence but intentionally made to wipe out the population from the world and leave behind the US in becoming the superpower. In the end, millions of lives were lost due to COVID-19, and China probably won the Third World War without firing a bullet. An important point that needs to be highlighted to the world was that Xi called it COVID-19, Wuhan 400 or Chinese virus. The fact is that the virus is a biological weapon that has an HIV genome at 4 places. Chinese have mutated this virus as a biological warfare agent. The only problem that seems to have happened is that it slipped either out of lab by accident or the test on animals gone wrong. The other possibility is that it is leaked in a calculated way to sink the world, and the Chinese taking control of many companies across the world. But remember, a country that can eat anything which moves, this scenario can't be ruled out either, because the world is about ruthless business. And you all know how pharma and arms are sold across the world. Chinese are ruthless by nature. President Xi Jinping literally fooled the Europeans and intelligent American Democrats by playing an excellent game in front of the eyes of the entire world. Owing to the deplorable situation in Wuhan, the Chinese currency began to decline. But the Chinese central bank took no action to stop this collapse. There were also many rumors that China didn't even have enough masks to fight the coronavirus. These rumors and Xi Jinping's statement that he was all set to protect Wuhan residents by blocking borders led to a sharp decline in share prices in Chinese technology and chemical industry. Financial sharks began selling all Chinese stocks, but no one wanted to buy them, and they were completely devalued. Xi Jinping made a great move at this time, waiting for a whole week and smiling at the press conferences as if nothing special had happened. And when the prices fell below the allowed expected limit, he ordered to buy all the shares of Europeans and Americans at the same time. Then the financial sharks realized that they had been cheated and bankrupted. It was too late because all the shares had passed to China, which at this time not only earned $2,000 billion, but thanks to the simulation, once again become the majority shareholder of companies built by Europeans and Americans. Therefore, the American and European financial sharks proved stupid, and in a few minutes, the Chinese collected most of their shares, which now produce billions and billions of dollars in profits. The Chinese president at Wuhan hospital officially announced victory over the coronavirus. Did the Chinese deceive the world with coronavirus? And did they save the economy?